and welcome back to Let's Talk Books. I promised you that you will be seeing my face again. I wasn't lying. You guys are happy to see me, and happy new year. We are finally in 2018. So in this video, I want to discuss the books that I have read this year. So you don't know how many I've read. My goal, I think, was 35 this year, which is a pretty lame goal for like to be a booktuber. Like, I'm watching people having like over 100 and succeeding. I'm over here like, I could barely read a book a freaking month. I don't have goals this year. I am saying goodbye to reading goals, but I do want to just say that if I were to pick a goal, it is to kind of just focus on books that I actually want to read. And I feel like a lot of times I'll just read books because either I have to review it or like I'm kind of interested, kind of not. But this year I really want to just focus on genres that I love. I want to go outside the box, but I also am like, doing that makes me become like crazy and makes me go into a reading slump. So I'm going to continue reading books that I love. Right now I'm currently reading A Matchmaker's Playbook by Rachel Van Dyken, which oh my god, it is so good. And I don't know if I'm saying that because I just haven't read in so long, or I haven't really read a new adult book in forever. So like when I read one, it just gets me excited. I'm sorry, I have no regrets. It's becoming a movie, indie production company called Passion FX or Passion Fix, something like that. Nick Bateman is actually going to be the lead. And yeah, so when I found out it was going to be a movie and it's going to be out, I think in the springtime or something, I was like, what? I need to read this. I already had it because it's actually free on Kindle. So I'm like almost done with it. Oh my god, it is so good. I'll like tell you a little bit. Basically, it's these two friends who are matchmakers on their campus. Like secretly, they have like a secret like company. And he falls for one of the girls that he is helping make with. So that's all you really need to know. But oh, it's so good, and I actually really think Nick Bateman's gonna be good in it. I am so excited. So basically this video, I'm gonna discuss the books that I read. So I'm gonna go on my Goodreads account, which I haven't been on in a very long time. I haven't updated it, I haven't done anything. So I'm gonna go through each book that I've read. I don't know if it'll be in order or not. I'm gonna just go to my reading challenge. Oh, actually, I'm currently reading 3 books according to my Goodreads. A Matchmaker's Playbook, If the Dress Fits by Carla de Cruzman, and A Thousand Boy Kisses, which I want to get into. Thousand Boy Kisses I started to read back in March when I went to England on the plane. And I actually had to stop. I started it, right? I mean, so good. Coming back home, I went and picked it up again. And I had to stop because it was getting really sad. And I am the type where I don't want to read those type of books in public. Like I just want to get into the emotion. And literally I was going to cry on the plane. And I had this really hot guy next to me. You know, I just wasn't about that. So I stopped. And I haven't picked it up since. But I do actually want to finish it. And I think it's like a really great book from what I've read so far. So I have read 12 books this year. One of them, I'm not gonna even add, so I actually only read 11 books because one of them is a dinosaur book that I read with my nephew. So I'm not counting that. The first book that I read this year was Dark is the Sea by Heather Blanchett, and I gave that book 3 stars. I have a review on that book if you want to know all my thoughts, but yeah, it wasn't really that like fantastic. Next is Milk and Honey. I gave it 5 stars. I also have a review on that. Probably one of my favorite books this year. I also read Hummingbird by Sophia Elaine Hansen. That I gave 4 stars. I don't have a review of that, I don't think, but I read her book Vinyl, which I reviewed in 2016, and then I found out that she was coming out with a poetry book. It's really good. Definitely support her. Also read Shadow of a Girl by Shannon Greenland. Also have a review of that. I gave that book 4 stars, and it was actually pretty good. It was a like girl who was on tour with these bands, and she meets this guy, and yeah, it's really good. Next one is, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, this book was probably like the best. It is a poetry book, and I read it a few months after Milk and Honey, and Milk and Honey was like on the top of my list. And then I read this book, which doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. It's called East of a Cold Red Sun by Shatara Liora. It was so beautiful. I mean, like, everything that she wrote, I was just like floored, like, by it all. Like, I was just like I don't know if it made me, I feel like with Milk and Honey, or with a lot of books, or a lot of poetry books that deal with love, I can't like emotionally relate to it on that level. But I felt like with this book, it was a lot deeper than that on like an emotional level that I could relate to. And I feel like that is what makes or breaks a poetry book, to be honest, because you kind of have to like feel it, you know, to really like love it. And that one, I definitely felt like every moment of it, and ooh, it was good. So please check it out. Like, she's so underrated. It's not even funny. There's only 8 reviews and 28 ratings. I found it on my Kindle app and just fell in love, and I wrote her on Twitter and she wrote back, and it's just such a sweetheart. So highly recommend. My next read was Big Little Lies. Ooh, so good. Gave it, I think, 4.5, and oh, that one was really good. The show was so good. Just a great experience just reading that book, and the suspense behind it, and that ending was just on point. Like, you knew a woman wrote this book. Like, it was just so good. My reread was 13 Reasons Why, to lead up to the show. Of course, I give it 5 stars once again. Loved it. I love the show. Just can't wait for season 2. So if you haven't read 13 Reasons Why, please do. If you guys get offended, I'm sorry. My other read was Everything, Everything. I gave that shit 1 star. Oof. Terrible. I thought it was terrible. Oh my god. I've read a lot of books where the main character is like sick or something. There's always a guy that comes around or a girl that comes around and tries to like fix it all. I love books like that. This one was done in a way where it turned me off. It rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it at all. I didn't care for not one character at all. I didn't like the writing. I just didn't like the message that it brought. The movie was even worse. I'm sorry if you love this book. I just think it was bad, and it kind of just turned me off to read her other books. And I hate to say it because she seems like such a sweetheart, but I didn't like this one at all. Sorry. The next book is I'm Not in the Band by Amber Garza, and that was like another like band type of like roadie book. I gave it 4 stars. I have a written review of it, I believe, so if I do, you will see down there. It's a short, sweet book. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible. I enjoyed it, and that is all. The biggest books of the year as far as poetry was Love Her Wild. I just love everything he writes. I'm just like, oh, like, can you talk to me like that? Like, seriously. So now the last like actual book that I read was Without Merit, and oh my god, I read that in like July. Oh my god, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so I read that book in July. I know it came out in like October, but I read it in July. If you watched my review, you know how I felt about it. Probably the worst, well, besides Never Never, the worst Colleen Hoover book I have personally ever read. I had so many issues with it. I'm not gonna get into it because it's a long one, but I did not like it at all. Like, I gave it like 2.5 stars, I think. Yeah, big disappointment. So yeah, that is what I read this year. Even out of all these books, besides a few of the poetry books, I haven't read a novel, a story. I haven't fallen in love with characters, and that is such a big letdown. Like, I miss falling in love with characters, and I didn't get that at all this year. Like, besides rereading 13 Reasons Why and Big Little Lies, it just sucks. Like, I just didn't get any of it, and partially it's obviously my fault. I just didn't read enough books. Technically I read a book a month, but I really didn't. And yeah, I hope that I get to, you know, pick up some really great books this year. I know for sure I'm reading Darker, and I'm going to be reading 50 Shades Freed again. I don't know, like I have these books on my shelves and there's books that are grabbing me and I just need to do it. I just need to read. Please, just let me read. I'm just not going to set myself for any goals. I'm just over goals. I'm not doing it. The only goal I have is to just hopefully read more and be motivated. I hope your reading year was better than mine. So I'm not doing a reading challenge this year. I'm just not going to like set myself up for it. I feel like the more pressure I'm on, the less I read. So I'm just not doing it. So that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. And again, happy and healthy and amazing and just successful new year from me to you. And yeah, I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.